All right, so the various videos are still uploading for the Nature Walk playlist. I did a little bit of looking up last night. When I was a kid, of course, I was all about paleontology and not just dinosaurs, but all kinds of stuff. I love the idea of this ancient prehistory. Um, ooh. Wanted to make a little clarification on some stuff. I'll add into the descriptions of things too. But anybody catching these, I want to make sure I don't have any misinformation or whatever. Get some clear on the camera there. Okay, so what I found fossil wise were mostly crinoids. It is very possible that the clamshell like fossils that I found uh, in those bluffs may be part of the crinoids. Apparently, there was a point where the entire seabed was nothing but. There are definitely identified layers that scientists have noticed that are like what I found, which is basically just nothing but dead crinoids. These were tubes that would extend up. These had frond like fans that would go in the water. Their mouths were at the end of the tube with the fans going out around them, and basically they would kind of filter and eat and catch things. So some of those, like for example, there was some 1 inch diameter tubes that appeared to be going through the some of the fossil rock. Those would have also been crinoids, as well as those large clamshells at the same height. What that actually means is that you would have something that would stand about a good 2 to 3 feet off of the seabed under this, 15 foot of water or whatever, and with these big fronds, they look like a multicolored palm tree, drifting in the water. And the clam would have actually from what I read, the mouth openings on those were often clamshell like. So I wanted to clarify that. I also looked up the time period for those. I mentioned something about Cambrian, and I believe they're actually Ordovician or Devonian or Silurian, depending on the depth. So the very bottom ones are just after the Cambrian. The next era after that. Um, but what we are looking at, as far as the silt levels, there was the one with the most of them as just a ton of crinoids um, on the bottom. That would be something like 550 to 600 million years old. And the higher up stuff with the larger ones, you're still looking at a good 3 to 400 million years. What that also means is where I was trying to see if I might find where the Cretaceous Tertiary boundary would be, um, or whatever they're calling it now. I think they changed the name of the Tertiary period. Um, would in all likelihood be up closer to where the fence is, at the top of the, far above the bluff, and back in a ways as far as bedrock goes. So not likely to see that there. Um, yeah, it was very fascinating. It's a very fun walk. And yeah, so the ancient seabed stuff that I was looking at, we're looking at no less than 500 million years old, and the higher up parts, like I said, the larger tubes, the 1 inch diameter, and the clamshell or mussel shell like scallop like things. Ugh. From the era at which point vertebrates really began to be a thing as well. So by the time those large fronds were in the ocean, there were some creatures on land as well. I just find that very fascinating. So I wanted to make a little update on that. And as those videos finish uploading, I will get them completed as far as their descriptions, having link and actual some information on them and whatever. I'll be reviewing each video and then kind of, informing whatever it was that, I looked at, maybe Wikipedia links to crinoids or something. But I had a heck of a time even finding the name crinoids. I could not for the life of me remember them. I knew them back in the day. And so I was like, are these tube worms? I can't remember. And it turns out they're not tube worms. They're kind of animal that resembles a plant. They are actually ancient relatives of modern crinoids, which are effectively similar. There's only about 600 species of crinoids alive now, out of 10,000 that were known to exist back then. The Cambrian explosion, of course, was the largest biodiversity explosion that we've ever been able to find record of. Went from single-celled creatures and small multi-celled creatures to, within a million years, full-sized arthropods, crustaceans, mollusks, crinoids, fish. By the 600 million years ago, there were vertebrate fish in the oceans, jawless, but still vertebrate. So, yeah, fascinating stuff, very interesting stuff. It's always cool to be able to see things like that. And like I said in one of the videos, which I don't know if it's up yet or not, that I think it's the tail end of part 5 that I mentioned it. That it's just like, when scientists use a telescope like Hubble to look far back into the deep recesses of the observable universe, and they're looking at things that are 13 billion years old or whatever. You're looking back in time, and it's the same thing when you look at this. The underside of this rock used to be the top of the seabed, and this limestone accretion of all of this stuff is where all of these things, they would, over time they would die, and they just litter the bottom, and the silt and sediment covers that up, and then the lime seeps into the hard parts and whatever. So the other thing is, some of those larger slabs of rock down there that contain some large crinoids, if I could get a chunk of one of those out and bring it up and crack it open, I could possibly find the fossilization of the fronds in like a clumped palm shape. That would be fascinating to find sometime. Also, I believe it was in the part 5 toward the end. It's not uploaded yet, but it's on its way. There was something I mentioned that looked like it might have had ribs, and upon looking up, I think what I found was a heavily damaged and exposed trilobite, which is one of those, they're like a sea cockroach. They had a bunch of legs, they had a bunch of segments, but they had a definite head and tail and what you could call bilateral symmetry. So, yeah, very cool stuff. Always down for a learning experience, always down for a nature walk that takes my ultradian bipolar moods and this anger at, you know, the way I've been treated and the way life has gone, that people can become embittered, like genuinely, like permanently so. And it's nice to be able to get some relief from that as well. I do not enjoy being in a bad mood, that is for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this to upload because it's gonna take forever. Thank you.